Hello, my applique friends. How are you today? I'm so excited to present episode number 199 of Sewing in Slippers with Sue. Today, since we are beginning our new year, we're still just weeks into the new year. One of my focuses is keeping my sewing room ready for sewing. That means keeping it tidied up, neat, organized, and I've been working since organizing my sewing room. Now, one of our members, Barbara Kahn, said she loves our Tuesday Sewing in Slippers with Sue because it gives her that hour to work with me to do a little co-working session. She is tidying up her sewing room while I'm talking about various topics. So that's really a wonderful way to use your Tuesday mornings at 11 o'clock on Sewing in Slippers with Sue. Let's tidy up our workspace while we are getting ready for a full week of beautiful sewing. Now, you might want to do this on Mondays. For me, Mondays are jam-packed, and so Tuesdays are the perfect time to get this done. So I want to do a few things with you today. You can see that I've been tidying up my workspace. Now my table where I work is a mess. That is an absolute disaster. But in the background here, I've got a new layout for my sewing room, and I'm just testing it out to see how it's going to work. So I'll go through some of the elements of how I've laid out my sewing room this time to see if I can get a better workflow situation. And we're going to talk about those ironing boards behind me because that is a fabulous addition to my workspace. I've got several things I want to share with you that might be good additions to your workspace. So good morning, wonderful. Snowy Mississauga, welcome Elaine. It is snowy here today too. We're going to get about 4 to 6 inches of snow today. Anita from snowy New York, welcome. Ellie here is in the morning sunshine. Welcome, Ellie. Wonderful to hear from all of you this morning that are just popping on to work with me today. We're going to have a little co-working session today. We're going to do some work in our sewing room, and I'm encouraging you to tidy up while we chat or get some blanket stitching done while we spend an hour together and do a little bit of work together. Good morning, Mary. Wonderful. Hey, so I hate to call it work because really this is the fun, right? Once we have been able to focus and get into our workspace, into our sewing room, this is the fun part. So I hate to call it work. So let's call it co-play instead of co-work. Let's sit here and play together while we are tidying up our sewing room, while we're getting some blanket stitching done on an applique project, while you're working with your design wall and putting up your blocks and trying to figure out what's going to happen next with your blocks. So I'm going to put my camera down on my workstation so I can share some of the projects that I've been doing to tidy up and organize my sewing room over the past 2 weeks. Barbara Kahn, welcome. That's wonderful to see you here. And Kathy, welcome from Central Massachusetts. Lenore, so glad that you're here. So I am boiling in my sewing room today. I've been freezing for the past couple of days, so I put on a sweater this morning. Let me take that off, and you will notice that my sweater and my long sleeve t-shirt have Thimble Pleasures on there. Thimble Pleasures is the name of my quilting group here in Central Massachusetts. And we're getting ready for our quilt show that happens once every 2 years. And I have a sewing project that I need to get finished for our quilt show that's happening mid-March. So I needed to organize my sewing room so that I could get into the zone because I have not been sewing. I don't think I have touched my sewing machine in probably a week and a half. And geez, it breaks my heart that happens. Now, I had applique school yesterday. And for those of you that were at applique school, what a wonderful session that was. I did a poll of everybody that was there. And out of the maybe 150 people that were there, about 50% said they have all the time in the world to sew. Lucky retired people that can sew anytime they want to. But about 27% of the audience yesterday said they only have 0 to 30 minutes a day to sew. So I want to address that a little bit. And when you do have time to sew, wouldn't it be nice to be in the perfect environment to sew? So that's what we're going to be talking about in our co-play session today. But I want to address that problem of people only having 0 to 30 minutes to sew each day. I'm one of them, and it's really a mindset shift. It's a mindset shift because when we're busy, busy, busy all the time, we don't think we can take time for ourselves. And I feel one of the greatest acts of self-care is to remember to take that time to sew. Remember to take that time that is for you and only you. Now, what other activity is for you and only you? Reading, sitting in a bubble bath, sitting in your sewing room, getting beautiful quilts done. Those are the type of activities I'm talking about. And too many of us, especially women, because we take on the weight of the world and we take on the problems of all of our family and our coworkers and our neighbors, we take it on ourselves to solve everybody else's problems, that we don't get to the root cause of our busyness, which is mindset. If you tell yourself that you are busy all the time, your mind will make up things for you to be busy with. If you keep saying you're busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy, your mind is going to say, you are absolutely right. You are the busiest person I know. And it's going to keep giving you activities that will keep you busy. Your mind is your best friend. It wants to make you right all the time. So if for a moment you're not busy, it's going to find something to distract you. That could be Facebook. It could be just scrolling on the internet. It could be tidying up a drawer that's been messy and you want to get to that. You're going to find all kinds of things that will keep you busy and keep you out of your sewing room. So what has to happen is a mindset change. Instead of thinking I'm busy, busy, busy all the time, you can say to yourself, I'm busy, but I still have time to do a little bit of applique today. I'm busy, but instead of watching television tonight, I'm going to sit down and sew for 24 minutes. I'm busy, but instead of reading that chapter of the book, why not get the book on audio, and then I can sew while I listen to a chapter of my book. So if you have a different mindset that you're going to make time for yourself every day, then your mind is going to say, you're absolutely right. You can make time for yourself every single day, and here's how we're going to do it. Your mind is constantly working in the background to prove you right. Whatever you are repeating to yourself over and over and over again, your mind will find the proof to say you are right. So we're going to take this hour today and we're going to say, I am busy, but while I sit and listen to Sewing in Slippers with Sue, I'm going to tidy up my workspace. I'm going to get my environment ready for sewing, and I'm going to take that little bit of time to myself today. And that's what's going to be proven right. Your mind is going to make the best use of this hour because you've given yourself permission to focus on that hour just for you. Okay, good. Well, welcome, Bev. Nice to see you. And we have Linda here. Good. Make sure the speaker isn't, make sure that your speaker is on so you can hear me. Everybody else is hearing me, so we should be good. So I want to talk to you just for a minute about my 6-week intentional action course. It's not my course. This is a course that I'm taking. My 6-week intentional action course is a course that I'm taking. And last week we talked about having a brainy focus. Brainy stands for a burning desire to do whatever you're focused on. The results of whatever you're doing are measurable or recordable. So BR, burning and recordable. Achievable is the A. It's an improvement on what you're currently doing. That's your I. It's no nonsense, straightforward and easy to understand. That's the N. And yippee, when we're done with our brainy focus, after 6 weeks, we're going to be able to record and evaluate the progress we made on 3 different goals. So I set up my 3 different goals to be more personal goals. I didn't want to make this into a business focus. So I'm really concentrating on personal goals, and one kind of goes between personal and business. So let me explain to you what they are. So my 3 goals are a daily gratitude practice. So I've got a page here in my notebook, and luckily the person running this course did a lot of work for us, and she made these to-do lists and organizing sheets. So I have just gone through week 1, and I've written down 3 times every day something that I am grateful for. Now, I won't read you that list because some of it's a little bit personal, but I think that a daily gratitude practice just puts me in the right mindset to get to just start my day with a positive feeling and get inspired and excited about that day. So that was one of my goals, was a daily gratitude practice. My second goal is really, really selfish. It's to get myself to the gym 3 to 4 days a week and drink 64 ounces of water a day. Now, if you've ever tried to drink 64 ounces of water a day, it's pretty hard, but excuse me, let me just grab my coffee here. Brenda Stout, welcome. So nice to see you here. Penny and I were just talking about you. Okay, Amy Z, welcome. So nice to see you. I was talking about you last night. Did you know that you are in my Applique School slide deck for getting your My Magical Garden quilt done when you told me you only have about 15-20 minutes to sew every day? Amy, I hope that's changed. That was a long time ago. I surveyed and you told me that you were only sewing for a small amount every single day. But you're in good company. So many people only get to sew for 0 to 30 minutes every day. I had Applique School last night, and that's the results of the poll that I got. 27% of my quilters only have 0 to 30 minutes to sew every day. So we are talking about focus. How can we focus during that time and have our sewing room set up so we can have the most productivity possible while we're in that sewing room? But let me share with you my 2 other goals for this 6-week intentional action course. So drinking 64 ounces of water a day, that's hard, but I downloaded an app. I don't seem to have my phone with me. I downloaded an app that's going to help me with that. And it's so cute. It is a water llama. And you fill up this little outline of these adorable little characters with water every day. You can add coffee. You can add any type of drink that's on their list. And it's very scientific, actually, even though it sounds very cutesy. If I add coffee, and I've had 8 ounces of coffee, it only adds 60% of that, because coffee actually dehydrates you. And so there are some things like alcohol and wine that will actually take away from the water that you drank that day. So getting to drink 64 ounces of water, that seems hard enough on its own. But then when you add in a glass of wine and a couple of glasses of coffee, you're really hurting yourself with reaching that goal. So anyway, that's a little aside. If you have a focus of trying to get more water in every day, I recommend this little app on your phone. It's so cute, and you can collect different characters and fill them up with water. And it's just a really fun way to keep track of your water intake every day. I'll get the name of it and put it in the comments later once I find my phone. Okay, my third goal is to call 3 members of Ahead of the Curve each week. And you can see on the bottom of my goal sheet, I have written 1, 2, 3. And in my first week, I called Lori Schnitzer and I called Becky Koopman, and I was going to call Chris Powell, but I didn't get a hold of her. But I'm already starting to fill in this week's goals. Oh, there's my phone. So I have 3 slots open right here. If you want to be on my call list, put your name in the chat. I would love to call 3 more of our Ahead of the Curve members and get their backstory. I want to know when you started quilting, how long you've been doing applique, how much progress you've made, any words of wisdom you have for our other members, and I'd love to feature you, if with your permission, on our member spotlight, which I do sometimes in the newsletter. So please put your name on my list. And if nobody volunteers, I'm going to randomly start calling some of our members, because it's such a joy to me to personally get to know our members better. Did you know that Becky Koopman is a certified master gardener? I had no idea until I had about an hour-long conversation with her. Now, normally our Zoom meetings are set up for 30 minutes, but Becky and I we had so much in common that conversation just took off. And we talked a lot about gardening as well as her progress as an applique quilter. So this is the 6-week intentional action course that I'm taking. And I want to share that with you because I hope that you can glean a few little words of wisdom or inspiration from what I'm doing with my focus for the year in 6-week increments, rather than trying to make a resolution that I try to keep for an entire year. So I love this new philosophy. I'm excited about it. And who knows, maybe you're going to follow suit and do that with me. Now, one of our beloved members, Bev Henyon, she's out there today. I saw you on the comments. She gave me this book, Feeling Grateful, when I went up and taught at Schoodic with her. So she hosts the retreat, and I was one of her teachers. So I love this book. I've been going through it slowly. And there's something I wanted to share with you today. Now, last week or the week before, I shared the very first page of this book, and I'm going to continue on that page. And it says, now this is Feeling Grateful, written by Kobe Yamada. Okay, so this is the book right here. So adorable. She also gave me a beautiful little stuffed bear to go with it. Life is a gift, and it is for you. The best things in life often aren't things at all. They're experiences lived, emotions felt, and connections made. These are the things that sparkle in our memory. It is when we are feeling grateful that we can perform our most beautiful acts and appreciate our most treasured moments. Those are such words of wisdom that I could not wait to share that with you today. And I am feeling grateful for taking this time with you to organize our sewing rooms. So I'm going to, if I can find my mouse, which just fell down off of my table, I'm going to put my camera down on my workstation. And when I find the right camera here, I'm going to share with you a little bit about, come on, let's go. Okay, a little bit about organizing for your sewing room. Well, one of the projects that I did last night in our applique school, we played with some hand applique a few days ago. And yesterday we played with fusible applique. Now, I don't have my finished block here. I'm not sure where it disappeared to, but that's okay. It will come when I am cleaning up this mess right here. But here is a little sketch of the quilt that I plan to make, that I made in EQ. Now, I found this block, a friend of mine found this block in a magazine, and she said, wouldn't that be a great block to do with your templates? And I said, oh, yes, it would. And I would love to make that quilt. So I decided that during applique school, when I'm demonstrating fusible applique, I will make one block of that quilt every time we do applique school. And within 9 sessions, I will have all the completed blocks I need to make a 9-block quilt. So this is what the block looks like when it's all done. And so yesterday I grabbed my CAFE design board because I was explaining to my applique school members how I use my quilter's chalk line to mark my lines on the quilt so that the quilt block, so that I don't have to use an overlay for applique to lay out the applique pieces. I don't have to draw the applique on the background fabric, which is done in traditional applique. I simply measure out from the center of my block, and I place my design elements a certain distance from the center. And that's how all 9 of these blocks will be done. So it takes a lot of the work out of preparing to get your applique done. You just snap a bunch of lines, you measure out, and then you start laying out your applique pieces. So this is the method that I was demonstrating last night. And what comes in really, really handy for this is that CAFE design board. Well, I'm going to be making some improvements to the CAFE design board instructions. So I want to just share my method with you for making the CAFE design board. And we're going to make one of these next week on Sewing in Slippers. So if you have the instructions for making the CAFE design board, you can make one along with me. So you've got a week to get all of your supplies ready. Now, this is made from a 2x2 insulation square. That square is about 1.5 inches thick. Joanne went to the store the other day and she got 2-inch thick insulation board. That is perfectly fine. Now, one of the problems with using the instructions that I've given on my website for the CAFE design board is that if you leave your iron on your board, it can get depressions in it. You can see there's a big depression right here because I left my iron on the board without the little iron shoe. I made a mistake and I left the iron like this and it melted the insulation board. So I'm going to make some improvements to my instructions. And in addition to the CAFE design wall fabric, which I sell on my website in a piece just the right size for this project. In addition, I'm going to go ahead and use a reflective material. This is called Polytherm, and I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. So I got a yard of this, and I was going to use it for casserole covers for Christmas. But I think that this will be the perfect material to reflect back the heat and make our CAFE design board even more functional. Then I'm going to put the CAFE design wall fabric over that. So I'm going to be revising those instructions. The instructions are free and on my website. So I'll make sure I get those instructions modified with the addition of a reflective material. Now you can buy ironing board cover material. It is reflective. It's very slick. It's not my favorite surface to work on, and it's quilted. So I don't really recommend the material that you use to get to cover your ironing boards. I really think that this product is going to work, but realize it is a test. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to make my board next week using this Polytherm. I think it's going to work great. Even if you don't have that and you just have some wool batting to put under here or cotton batting, that makes a great surface. You just have to be careful not to leave your iron on it. So what does this have to do with getting ready for a productive day in my sewing room? Well, having this tool in my sewing room, it's lightweight. I have several of these. I designed my applique blocks on here. So I find it's an invaluable resource for my sewing room, as are a couple of other products that I have. Now, whoops, this product that I have right here is an ironing board made by Tim and Tracy Kennedy of TNT Quilt Boards. Now, I love this product, and I do not sell these on my website. So if you want one of these, you can go to tntquiltboards.com. And they make such a beautiful, beautiful project. This is so soft and smooth. Tim does a fabulous job with the woodworking. There's a nice little handle on here for carrying. There's legs to make it stand up. And this fabric cover, you can choose what fabric cover you want. Well, you might remember that I had one with bicycles on it. You know I love my bicycle riding, so Tracy made me a special one with bicycles on it. Well, it got really, really dirty. So yesterday, I unscrewed these little screws right here, and I just covered over that bicycle fabric that's still underneath. I covered over the bicycle fabric with a little piece of fabric that I had left over from covering my great big board. Now my big board is, I'll show you that when I have the regular camera on. But now I have a matching small portable board as well as the matching big board. And I did it in this nice neutral gray so that it would match all of my Kaffe design boards. So while I have that out, I'm going to show you a second one that Tracy and Tim made for me. Now, I love this board that Tracy and Tim made. Again, it has all the same features, and they covered it with the Kaffe Design Wall flannel. Well, this one is well used and well loved, and unfortunately, it's got a lot of fusible web on there. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to try before I replace the cover of this board. I just recently found this tool, and I actually bought this on Facebook, but my distributor sells a similar tool for cleaning your wool pressing mats. Now, I have a feeling it might help to clean up this mat. And then maybe I'm not going to have to replace this mat at all, where I thought I was going to have to recover this mat with some new fabric. Look at that. It is cleaning up this mat and getting rid of all that fusible web that's stuck on the surface. It's just taking a thin layer off of that surface. Now, it's not perfect, because when you fuse Misty Fuse, it's made to be permanent. So I've got some areas that are really stuck there with fusible. But my goodness, I think I can probably go another year or so without having to recover this mat. So, hey, I got some of these wool cleaning, the mat cleaning tools, and I put them on my website. And even though they're made by a different company and they don't have the wooden handle, they work just as well as this one. So look at all that stuff, that lint that's coming off the top. And if I work at this a little bit more, I think I'm going to save this pressing mat without having to replace the cover. So my plan today was to show you how to replace this cover, and I'm still going to do that. But I'm not going to take this one all apart because I don't think I'm going to have to. So I have my handy dandy little drill right here, and I'm just going to put in a cross tip here, a Phillips head tip, and I'm going to put my drill in reverse. And, oh, it's not in reverse yet. I'm simply going to unscrew those corners. Now, once I unscrew the corners, everything else is just stapled down. So you can use a staple puller or just get a butter knife up under those staples and you can take off this cover. But it's kind of like a roof, right? You don't necessarily need to take off your roofing shingles. You can go over your roof 2 or 3 times to renovate it without having to go back down to the bare wood. Now, it's the same thing here with my ironing board table. I don't have to go down to the original wood. I can simply wrap this with another layer of that Kaffe Design Wall flannel, a nice clean piece this time. And I'm just going to turn under the edges and I'm going to use my staple gun to staple that in place. So it's really easy to find one of these staple guns at your local hardware store. You probably have one already. I love this one because the staples come out here. So it's really easy to use. You get a lot of leverage. And then just replace those corners. In the corner where all those layers come together, it's really bulky and it's hard to get your staples into that corner. So that's why Tim and Tracy use those screws instead. And it just gives you an added level of security. So that is exactly how I recovered my TNT quilt board. Now, I know Tracy and Tim would have recovered this for me had I asked them, but getting it up to them in Lunenburg just was not an option for me. And I wanted it to match my current ironing board. So I went ahead and did that job myself. So if you need one of these portable ironing surfaces, TNT quilt boards, that's the place to go. And if you want to make your own, you can absolutely make your own Kaffe design board with me next Tuesday. And I want to also show you the board that I recovered that matches that board. So let me go ahead and change my camera. Here we are again, and look at my new ironing board cover. Now it's just set on top of an old desk right now. And I'm debating whether or not I want the desk there or I want to get a wire rack that's going to have storage underneath. I used to have a wire rack under there and I really liked it. But the desk was here and I just plopped my ironing board top on top of it. It's not secured. It's just loose. That way I can move that really easily if I need to move it into the other room to give me more space in the sewing room. Now my sewing room is really tiny, but I needed the ironing space in the sewing room instead of out in the room next door. It's just so much easier. So I recovered my big board. It's just a piece of plywood, same thing, covered with a cotton batting. And then I got 100% cotton fabric to cover it with. That's really important. The last fabric that I covered it with, I bought at the discount store and it had no fiber content on the fabric. So I didn't know what it was. Well, it turns out it wasn't 100% cotton. And when my iron sat on there, and especially the Oliso iron that is up on little stilts, when the Oliso iron just sits there, it gets warm. And it's only about 1/2 inch off the surface. Well, I would burn holes right through that ironing board cover every time I use that Oliso iron. Or if I left the iron down for a long period of time, the old-fashioned irons, if I left them down too long, I'd burn a hole right through my cover. So I went ahead and recovered both my big board and my Tim and Tracy Kennedy TNT quilt boards with the same fabric. It's gray, so it matches the whole design of my sewing room. And I'm so happy that I took the time to do that for myself. It was like a little gift for myself. And now I've got a workroom that is ready to work. I am ready to go to town and start designing some more applique quilts. Okay, so I have a couple more things to share with you, and we are going to end a little bit early today because I can't wait to dive into my applique project that I need to complete. I'm working on designing a new block for our Ahead of the Curve members for our Almost in Baltimore blocks. So I'll be working on that today. And in addition, we have brand new members of Ahead of the Curve. I'm going to welcome them into the membership with some emails. And we're also going to be hosting our Gradations kickoff tonight. So Gradations is the quilt that I have on the wall back here. We're going to be kicking off this project tonight, and there is still time to get in on Gradations. So Gradations starts tonight. It's a 6-week course with 2 bonus optional weeks for machine quilting this quilt. So we'll be making gradations over the next 6 weeks, which brings to mind the 6-week intentional action course. If you set a new focus every 6 weeks and it is brainy, you have a burning desire to learn how to do something new, like make an applique quilt. Let me see what all of the other things were. It's definitely recordable because you will see your progress every week, and you can actually kind of chart your progress. I'm 10% of the way done. I'm 20% of the way done. You can do that by checking in at our check-in sessions that are going to be held at the 2-week point and the 4-week point and the 6-week point. So you'll be able to measure your progress. It is definitely achievable. Anyone who sets their mind to making gradations in 6 weeks can do it. It's not a hard quilt. It's super easy. It's just a matter of having the right instruction, the right tools, and learning the process for letting your gradation fabric do all the work for you. Now, there's still a fair amount of play in there, but it's fun play. It's stitching, it's cutting, it's fusing, and it's easy. You are going to notice an improvement in your applique skills by making this one quilt. This one quilt is going to set you up for all the other applique quilts in your future by learning my technique for fusible rotary cut applique. It is a no-nonsense technique. I'm going to explain it to you so that it is easily understood. It's simple. It's uncomplicated. It's straightforward. It is no nonsense. And we're all going to celebrate yippee when it is done because we have a session to show off your finished quilt. So there will be a celebration at the end. So if you want a brainy goal for 2024 in a 6-month session, a 6-week session, Gradations is definitely for you. You can sign up at SuePellinDesigns.com. Just search for Gradations and you can purchase that course and get started with us tonight. The kickoff tonight is intended to help you get your supplies ready. I'm going to walk you through the student content so that you can see how it's all organized and how I expect you to progress through the different lessons. There are 6 lessons, and you'll be completing 2 of those lessons before we see each other again in 2 weeks. So we're going to kick off tonight. We're going to set out the plan so that it is brainy, right? You're going to have a burning desire to get this done. It's going to be recordable and measurable. It's achievable. It's going to be an improvement on your skills. It is no nonsense, easy to understand, and quick and easy to do. And we're going to celebrate yippee at the end. So that is our brainy goal for our first project. It's a 6-week project, and it's our first Ahead of rotary cut applique project that we're doing as a quilt along in 2024. Okay, if you've already done gradations, if you're not interested in gradations, we have so many other ways for you to dive in and master these applique techniques. And our membership is the perfect place. Now, membership Bonuses end tonight at midnight. Now, I know most of you here are already members, but if you had friends that wanted to join, and Brenda, you had a question about your friend being able to see the videos. I haven't sent out the video from last night yet because I've got some editing to do, but I promise to get that done today. I'm going to send that out to everybody that was registered for Applique School, and Brenda, your friend, is on the list. So if they watch the video today and they want to join by midnight tonight, that's always welcome. If they're not ready yet, no problem. We have other ways to get involved. Is it taped so you can watch it again? The Gradations tutorial? Yes. Gradations is an online course. It's different from the membership because you have infinite access to Gradations. It is recorded. Everything in there is explained step by step in a 6-week tutorial. There are 6 videos for you to watch, and you're going to get through this project in 6 weeks with the videos. Now, we're adding some check-in sessions just because we're doing this right now as a quilt along, but you could do Gradations at any time. If you don't get to it now, you purchase it now, that's great. You can try to get to it now, but if you fall off the bandwagon and you don't get it finished, you have Gradations forever, for as long as you need it. So yes, even our check-in sessions will be recorded. So if you're joining Gradations now, I will be sending emails, reminders about our check-in sessions. Those will be recorded and videos will go out of those sessions as well. I think I'm just going to add them right into the course material so people can watch those sessions. Okay, so that's what we have going on. It's a busy, busy week here at Sue Pellin Designs. I'm meeting with my team at 2 o'clock today to kick off the new year and to have a planning session. We've already planned this next 3 months, and then we've got the next 3 months to plan. So that is our goal for today, so we can give you more information about what's coming up in Ahead of the Curve. Now, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in the chat here. One question was, is it taped so we can watch it again, the Gradations? And the answer is absolutely yes. Jane's going to see me later tonight. Wonderful. You have made an ironing table using a Martha Stewart video on YouTube with your brother-in-law's help. Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Yes, an ironing table is not difficult to make, and it's a wonderful project to really brighten up your sewing room, put a new cover on, get a nice new start to the year, have a clean slate, and we are going to get fusing and stitching. All right. Fantastic. Penny's answering all the questions that are out there, so I think we're all good. All right, so ladies, we are going to call it a day. I've got some play that needs to happen right here so that I can plan the next block for our Ahead of the Curve membership, our Almost in Baltimore blocks. So now that my sewing room is all ready, now that my cave design board is ready to go and it's nice and clean, I use that little cleaning tool on it that worked beautifully. I can't wait to spend some time designing, and I hope that you are going to get some applique quilting done this week too. Now, for those of you in our Ahead of the Curve program, don't forget, we have an all-day sit and sew on Friday. It's now called Creativity. Take your favorite hot beverage, a cup of tea, my cup of coffee, and join me on Friday from 11 to 3. I think it is 11 to 3. We have an entire day for co-play. It's a co-work session where you can get on Zoom and work with a bunch of your buddies and hang out, sew together, and I can't wait to spend my day with you on Friday for all of those Ahead of the Curve members. Now, if you're not a member of Ahead of the Curve and you want to get in on this creativity on Friday, join the membership. The lowest level is $29 a month. Gold level is $49 a month. Platinum level is $69 a month. If you go to appliqueschool.com, you're going to get all of the details on what those 3 levels entail, what you're going to gain access to when you are looking at the 3 different levels. But get in on it today because those bonuses end today, and I don't want you to miss out on that fabulous bonus, especially the 25% off your tools. If you're new to this, you need a few tools, and you can get 25% off those tools. And the second bonus that's really important, especially today, you can get into gradations for half price. If you don't want to get gradations, because it can be overwhelming to start the membership and start a course at the same time, you can purchase any course you want to for half price, and you can do that course later. Now, why would you need a course when you're already joining the membership? Well, the silver level membership doesn't have workshops. They have a couple of workshops, but it's not an extensive number of workshops. You have all the technique videos, but you need some place to apply those techniques. So you either up level to the gold or platinum level membership, where you get to take a workshop with me every month, or you sign up for one of the courses where you can actually implement everything that you are learning. The 2 go hand in hand, the membership and the courses. Some people want to do it all. Some people want to do one or the other. Some people want to do both. So it's totally up to you. But now is the time because of those bonuses. So yeah, I'm going to sign off. I've got a lot of work to do, and I know you do too. So keep feeling grateful. Think about all the beautiful things you can do for your life when you are feeling grateful. It just puts you in the mindset. I want to just quote this again. There are experiences lived, emotions felt, and connections made. These are the best things in life. They're the little things that sparkle in our memory. I just love that imagery of sparkling in my memory. When you are feeling grateful, it's at that time that you can perform our most beautiful acts and appreciate our most treasured moments. So I hope you are all feeling grateful today. I know that I am grateful for each and every one of you for spending your Tuesday mornings with me. It gets me excited, energized, and ready for the week ahead. I hope you've had fun doing a little bit of work or a little bit of play together. And don't forget our creativity on Friday. So nice to see all of you today. And thank you for joining me here on Sewing in Slippers with Sue.